Hello and welcome back. Today, a little bit about Chinese stamps. In particular, we will start with the so-called junk series. Not junk stamps like junk to throw away. No. And the little ship on the stamp is referred to as a junk, and therefore we call it the junk series of stamps. Let's get started. China, 1913 to 1926, junk series. These three lookalikes are actually three different stamps. Let's take a closer look. In the London printing of 1913, we have short vertical lines under the Chinese banner here, or panel. And in the Peking printing of 1914 and 1919, we have longer and more bolder vertical lines. Yeah, they are quite a bit bolder. If you compare the two side by side, you can see the difference. And on the other Peking printing of 1923 and 1926, we have no vertical lines, all just blank here, smooth. Okay. On the harvester part of the junk series of 1913 through 1926, we have also three different issue designs. Let's take another close look at these. In the London printing of 1913, we have an extended heel of the shoe. Almost looks like either a spur or spike, but it's quite visible when you look under a magnifying glass. And we also have the shading on the ground touching the front part of the shoe. On the Peking printing of 1914 and 1919, we have a normal heel, just perfectly rounded and normal, and the shading on the ground does not touch the front of the shoe. And on the Peking printing of 1923 and 26, we have dots, if you want to call it that, above the right column in this case, and a kind of a design of little rectangles just above the column as well. On the right, we have the Peking printing of 1914 and 1919, where we have a totally different configuration above the column. On the right, in this case again, with a pattern of skinny vertical lines all over the place here. So that's the difference between these years and these years of issue, both from Peking, but different. And that, knowing that or deciphering that anyways, should give you the right clue to place it in the right catalog number. And further in the junk series of China, 1913 to 1926, we're now dealing with the higher denominations, the dollar values. And there too are differences. In the London printing, where the arrow points on the top portion of the dollar value, this area right here in the middle of the above the middle arch, and right here we have a configuration that looks basically like this, and sometimes very unclear because of the printing of that time. So, but basically, this is what you're supposed to see: these two angular things and two horizontal lines, and the item below in a stretched out rectangle. The Peking printing of 1914 and 1919 has a little different configuration. And again, under magnification, you can see the difference. On the scan, it's probably too small, so I couldn't get it any bigger, so sorry about that. But anyways, that configuration, you have the same on the left angle as you have above, but here you only have one diagonal line of that particular previous angular configuration, and not a rectangular shape, but more oblong or stretched oval, or uh, whatever the name is of that. But anyways, you get the idea. So here are the two differences. And yeah, for me, the old timer, it took me quite a while to construct these two signs here, or designs. And anyways, but here they are, as best as I could do. Okay, and on we go. Now we have another issue of the dollar values, which appeared in 1923 and 26 of the Peking printing. And here we see under the panel of the Chinese character at the top, we have just a single thick line with a dot in the middle, as on the previous two printings that I just showed. We have two skinnier lines with a dot in this type of a configuration. So that differentiates the last issue of the junk series right here. And the Sun Yat Sun issues that kind of came afterwards. In 1931, it's referred to as a Type 1, and the one also 1931 and 1932 as a Type 2 on the right. On the left, that issue had 7 values and was printed or released November 1931. On the right, the issue has 10 regular values, with some also issued already in November 1931. And I'll tell you the reason in the following slide. And in 1932. The Type 2 set further separates into, they call a dry printing and a wet printing, now totaling 17 values. The difference between the dry and the wet printings can be determined by the size of the stamps, one being a little bit larger than the other. And the catalogs typically give you those dimensions, so you can measure. Here in the Type 1, we have a double circle in the center of the national emblem, which turned out to be the wrong design. That is why in 1931, November as well, as this one, the first one was printed, the second type was printed also and it was corrected in making the inner circle a solid circle, as you can see here. So that is why. And then they added more, again, due to probably the difference, the different types of printing, dry and wet, in 1932. So as a specialized collector, a person would probably like to collect all, meaning the wet and the dry of the type 2, the corrected national emblem type. And China, Hunan province of 1949, the only airmail issued here. To find such a stamp in a catalog, I usually look for the unoverprinted stamp or stamps and then read the footnote reference for other similar and overprinted versions, unless familiar with the language. Well, I hate to say I don't speak or read Chinese. The odd symbol maybe, but that's about it. So I have to follow basically the procedure I just outlined. And it actually works quite well. A lot easier than trying to match that overprint and hunting for it page by page. That could take quite a while. China, Northern Province of 1946, military stamp, 18 millimeters, by far the better value. And in 1948, it was redone, re-overprinted, those remainders, to 15.5 millimeter wide from end to end. The unoverprinted military stamp of China was issued in 1945. Here we have China 1932 to 1937 airmail issues. To proper ID, typically 3 things have to be checked: perforation, watermark, and secret mark. Here we have 2 examples of airmail stamps, as the arrows point to: a joined bottom left character, right here, the bottom part from the short vertical, the horizontal or slightly diagonal part joining that part completely. So they are joined. And the same here on the 30, it is joined. So that means if they are joined, no secret mark. China of 1942 and 43. Similar stamp, actually same stamp, with perforation varieties, which are listed as much as into the 3-digit values. These are not that good, so the regular perf 13 is valued at 25 cents a piece, but the perf 11 already jumps to $13.50. So not too bad, so it's good to check that. And there are other values in the series that, yes, as I just indicated, can go up to the highest I've seen, 3-digit values. So measure them closely. And actually, once you train your eyes to measure perforation, you get a pretty good idea that looking at them or having a couple side by side or a bunch of them, that the perf 11 basically does stand out quite a bit from the perf 13. So you can train your eyes. They will automatically train you. Look at enough of them. At least I feel that way, even at my age. China, 1938, regular issue and re-engraved. Issue of 1940. Let us take a little bit closer look here. The regular issue of 1938, you look at the value 2, and you see this little part here, and you compare it to the re-engraved issue of 1940, you can see how that changed, basically on the left as well as on the right side here. So that differentiates between the regular and the re-engraved issue. China, no secret mark and with secret mark, issue of 1940. Okay, let's enlarge that a little bit. This is on the 5-cent value. Here in the normal joint character, right here where they connect, and not joined right here, as you can hopefully see, is referred to as the secret mark. And this is on the 5-cent issue. Here we have the 8-cent value of 1939 and 1940 issues. Just a small sample of some differences of the 8-cent values. And there are more differences, but I will just get into very basics. The 1939 issue has a character not joined. In other words, the character here, all individual little pieces that make up the character here in this box on the right. And at the same time, the bottom part of that same stamp has the uniform button without the star in it. On the 1940 issue, the character is joined. You can see all the pieces here are all joined together. And now, in the uniform button, we do actually have a star. And finally, the 1940 issue character, again, is joined, but now we have no star in the uniform button. So you have kind of a, 3 different versions. And yes, there's more detail to look for, but that's all we're going to have for this one. Yeah, maybe I'm getting lazy. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, sometimes treasures are in little detail differences, and we always hope that we can, in a bunch of stamps, weed out the good ones from the normal ones. So good luck to all, and stay healthy. And thank you so very much for watching. My channel, Stamp Space, My Fun Things.